It's not by chance that you're viewing this video. There's a reason you're here. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the timing of your life and know that you're being led to where you're meant to be. As you stumble on this video, perhaps not by chance, it will serve to awaken your spirit. Your spirit has been stirred, and the atmosphere around you has been undergoing a profound shift. You have been sensing this change, even if you were unable to fully identify or articulate it. This moment serves as confirmation. You are not merely experiencing an ordinary time. Instead, you are standing on the threshold of a divine window, an extraordinary and sacred opportunity. A prophetic instruction is being released from heaven, carrying with it a sense of urgency, unmistakable clarity, and divine precision. What is about to happen will alter the course of everything. However, this moment is not meant for everyone to witness or partake in. It is a deeply personal encounter meant solely for you and God. Heaven is speaking now, and the next 7 minutes are set apart as holy, sanctified for divine alignment and revelation. Let us walk through this revelation in 7 distinct chapters. But before we begin our deep dive into this divine unfolding, I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. This is not merely a message, it is a divine directive, a sacred instruction intended specifically for the chosen ones who are standing at the threshold of a significant spiritual shift. To all those who have been consistently supporting this mission through super thanks and other means of encouragement, may God bless you abundantly, far beyond what you can ask or imagine. Your faith, your continued presence, and your obedience are deeply significant. They matter. Every time you choose to watch, to listen, and to remain in spiritual alignment, you are playing a vital role in carrying this prophetic frequency into the world. If your spirit resonates with the urgency of this moment, I invite you to type 77 in the comments below. Understand that this number is not arbitrary. It is a sacred code, a divine alert to heaven, and a prophetic signal that you are spiritually awake, in alignment, and ready to respond to what God is releasing in this very hour. Not everyone will remain engaged until the conclusion of this message. Only those who are truly chosen, those whose spirits are attuned to the divine, will sense the urgency of this moment, will reverence the sacred silence it requires, and will be prepared to receive the instruction that is being released. This message is not meant for casual consumption or entertainment. It is, in its very essence, a spiritual activation, infused with a specific anointing that has been marked by divine timing. This is not something that one simply hears once and then forgets. Rather, it is a living command, a prophetic word sealed within an appointed moment in the Spirit. You are encouraged to return to this message whenever your spirit feels led, for with each encounter, another layer of divine clarity, spiritual power, and heavenly instruction will be unveiled. This is not merely a message. It is the inception of a movement, and for you, this is the moment. Your appointed time to act, to align, and to move has come. Now, with hearts open and spirits ready, let us begin this sacred journey into deeper understanding. Chapter 1. The window has opened. A divine window has now been opened over your life, and it is important to understand that it will not remain open indefinitely. Chosen one, listen attentively, for this moment is anything but ordinary. In the realm of the Spirit, a sacred portal has been released, an opening orchestrated by God Himself. When God opens a window such as this, it is never without purpose. It carries both divine opportunity and a profound sense of urgency. This is a holy intersection where the agenda of heaven intersects with the reality of your life. In moments like this, delay can prove to be dangerous, and immediate obedience becomes the only secure and faithful response. You have been waiting, you have been praying, you have been preparing your heart and seeking God earnestly. You have asked Him for confirmation, for clarity, and for a clear sign that the time has come. And now heaven has answered. And now heaven is responding, not through a thunderous voice, but through a sudden and undeniable shift in your spiritual atmosphere. If you have been experiencing a pressing sense of spiritual tension, a stirring deep within your spirit, or a persistent push in your chest, not one born of fear, but of holy urgency, then understand this. That is the sign you have been seeking. This is not the time to pause in hesitation. This is not the season for overanalyzing or overthinking. God is not calling you to be perfect. He is simply calling you to be obedient. And that obedience is not for a later time, not after you consult a dozen people for their opinions, nor after you wait for circumstances to feel more favorable or comfortable. He is saying, clearly and unmistakably, move now. Something has already been set in motion in the spiritual realm that requires your immediate agreement, your yes in this exact moment. The divine window before you is not permanent. It is prophetic in nature, divinely precise, and extremely sensitive to timing. Just like the stirring of the waters at the pool of Bethesda, it is those who stepped in first who received their healing. But those who hesitated, those who delayed, missed their miracle. It was not because they were unloved that they missed the moment, but simply because they failed to move when the water moved. And right now your water is moving. The Spirit of God is actively shifting circumstances, both around you and within you. Doors that were once closed are beginning to creak open. Keys, spiritual and practical, are beginning to appear in your hands. This shift in atmosphere is not the result of striving or force. It is happening because you have come into alignment with the divine frequency, because your spirit has responded to heaven's timing. However, with this movement comes a solemn warning. Do not delay, and equally important, do not disclose. Share this with no one, not because it is shameful, and not because it is a secret rooted in fear, but because some instructions from God are so sacred, so divinely sensitive, that they must be protected from premature exposure. There are voices, however well-meaning, that are not ready to hear what heaven has entrusted to you. What God is calling you to do in this season must be protected through intentional silence. There are people around you, some well-meaning, some unaware, who may unintentionally talk you out of the very thing that God is trying to lead you into. Their fear may attempt to masquerade as logic. Their hesitation may try to influence you into delay. But this time, God is speaking clearly. Trust me, not them. Trust my voice above all others. Trust the direction in which I am leading you. Trust the door that I, the Lord, am opening before you, and trust the divine timing I have appointed for your next step. You are not late. You are not behind schedule. You are precisely on time for this assignment, this divine mission that has been written into your life's purpose. However, understand this, the timing is sensitive. You have entered a prophetic countdown, not as a form of pressure, but as a means of preparation. God is aligning everything in perfect order. Your responsibility is to obey, to move, and to protect what is sacred, until it is time to reveal what has been divinely conceived. God does not merely open doors. He prepares hearts in advance for what He is about to release. And everything within your spirit has been sensing that this moment is unlike any other. This is not just another week, nor is it just another word. This is a release point, a divine launching into something greater, something appointed. Be aware, when this window closes, it will not reopen in the same way again. The opportunity may return in some form, but not with the same ease, not with the same covering of grace, and not with the same divine acceleration. That is why it is essential for you to move now. Even if your hands are trembling, even if your voice is unsteady, even if you cannot see the full map ahead, take the first step. God is not asking you to fully understand the journey. He is asking you to trust Him. This is a rare and sacred window of time, and you are one of the rare individuals who have been chosen to walk through it. So breathe deeply, chosen one. Quiet your heart and attune your ear to the still, small voice of the Holy Spirit. Look past every distraction, silence the external noise, and then move. Obey without delay. Respond in faith. Align your steps with the divine instruction. The window is open, but it will not remain open for long. Chapter 2. This instruction is personal. This instruction from God is deeply personal, and it must be treated as such. Do not announce it. Chosen one, what God is doing within you in this season is not meant for public discussion. It is not for casual conversation, not for the group chat, and certainly not for the commentary of the crowd. This divine directive is not up for debate or collective input. It is a personal mandate issued directly from heaven to your spirit. And because it is sacred, it must be protected with intentionality and discernment. God is preparing to birth something through you, something so weighty, so holy that it requires spiritual isolation, not premature exposure. This is not about hiding because of fear. Rather, it is about concealing out of divine wisdom. You are not being asked to diminish yourself or shrink into silence. You are being asked to big shield what is holy until the appointed time. Some assignments are too delicate to be displayed before they are developed. And what God is doing in you now must be nurtured in quiet, in consecration, and in trust. What is forming within you right now is far too delicate to be exposed to the wrong atmosphere. In the early stages of spiritual growth, even the right seed can be destroyed by the wrong voice. A single misguided conversation can drain the power and clarity of a divine instruction. Not everyone around you possesses the spiritual maturity to comprehend what you are carrying. And truthfully, not everyone is meant to. There are some things that God intentionally speaks in secret, fully aware of how easily they can be contaminated by outside opinions, distractions, or disbelief. This is the very reason why God eventually instructed Joseph to stop sharing his dreams. It wasn't because the dreams were incorrect or misplaced, but because the timing for revealing them was premature. There are certain revelations and assignments that must be protected until they have been planted deeply enough, anchored so securely in your spirit, that they can withstand the winds of doubt, criticism, and confusion. In this season, discretion is not weakness, it is wisdom. What God is forming in you must be covered, nurtured, and guarded until it is strong enough to stand. In this very moment, God is speaking clearly. What I have entrusted to you is too specific, too powerful, and too prophetically significant to be discussed openly. Some of you are receiving divine instructions that may appear illogical or even irrational to those around you. You are being led to release certain people, to walk away from familiar places, and to break free from patterns that you once depended upon for comfort and stability. There is a strong pull in your spirit, a call to move, to shift, and to act in ways that may seem strange, unconventional, or even risky to the natural mind. But here is the truth. The instruction you've been given does not need to make sense to others. It only needs to be obeyed when reached by you. Obedience is not a group decision. It is a personal response to a divine command. Do not feel compelled to announce your obedience to those who have not been assigned to your calling. Do not broadcast every step of your spiritual journey for public validation. Do not waste time explaining your divinely orchestrated movements to people who were never present when God whispered the blueprint into your spirit. What God has spoken in secret is sacred, and in this season, sacred things must be stewarded with discretion, trust, and unwavering faith. This part of your journey is not about seeking approval. It is about pursuing alignment. It is about stepping into a deeper level of maturity, where you understand that certain breakthroughs are intentionally silent by design. The most significant shifts in your life may occur far from the spotlight, without applause, without recognition, and without public celebration. Yet those quiet movements will shift the spiritual realm more powerfully than 1,000 public declarations ever could. In many cases, the most prophetic action is not found in what you announce, but in what you withhold. It's in what you protect, what you nurture in private, what you water in secret until God gives the word and says, "Now reveal." So if you have been sensing a divine urge to pull back, to go silent, or to guard your next step, know this. That is confirmation. That is not fear. It is spiritual intelligence. It is the wisdom of God being imparted to you, giving you the strategy required to carry something sacred all the way to full term. There is power in quiet obedience. There is maturity in restraint. And there is divine strategy in choosing to protect what is holy until it is ready to be revealed in God's perfect time. And when the appointed time comes for you to speak, you will find that you will not need to say a word, because your results will speak on your behalf. Your fruit will testify of your obedience. Your transformation will become your living testimony. Until that moment arrives, continue to move in silence, walk forward in unwavering obedience, and hold this truth close to your heart. You are not being quiet because you are uncertain. You are being quiet because you are chosen. Those who are chosen do not always make public announcements. They do not seek validation or approval through noise. Sometimes the most powerful thing a chosen one can do is simply move, with conviction, with precision, and with divine confidence. That is exactly what God is asking of you in this season. Do not speak, just move. Chapter 3, you have been prepared for this moment. Chosen one, this moment is not catching your spirit by surprise. In fact, your spirit has been anticipating it long before your mind could fully comprehend what was unfolding. You have been sensing the shift, even in your sleep. You have been waking in the early hours of the morning with an unexplainable weight in your chest and a deep stirring in your soul. You have walked through extended seasons where, on the surface, it seemed as though nothing was happening. But in truth, everything was being prepared beneath the surface. Foundations were being laid in silence. Strength was being built in stillness. Alignment was taking place in the unseen. This moment, this divine appointment, has been in the making for longer than you realize. And now your spirit recognizes it because it has already been prepared for it. God has been training you, not in the midst of crowds, but in the solitude of hidden places. You were not being ignored. You were being instructed. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. There were places you longed to go, and God, in His wisdom, said no. There were people you wished to keep in your life, and yet God, in His sovereignty, removed them. There were opportunities you felt fully ready to embrace, and heaven shut the door, not to delay your destiny, but to protect the assignment on your life. The waiting you endured was not wasted time. In those quiet, unseen seasons, God was teaching you how to hear Him in the whisper, how to stand firm even when you lacked understanding, and how to discern His voice amid the constant noise of human opinions. You have been trained to move without the validation of applause, to obey without having all the answers, and to follow divine leading even when your external circumstances offer no support or affirmation. That, chosen one, is more than just obedience. That is spiritual maturity. Every lonely night you endured, every tear you shed without explanation, every prayer that seemed to go unanswered, and every no you received but could not comprehend, all of it played a significant role in your journey. Each experience, each moment of silence, each closed door contributed to the foundation that God was building beneath you. You did not choose the easy road, and now you are standing in the very center of why. You were never lost. You were never behind schedule. You were walking step by step, layer by layer, according to heaven's divine strategy for your life. Now that the divine instruction has been released, understand this. Heaven is not wondering whether you are ready. Heaven knows. Regardless of how you may feel in this moment, your spirit is prepared. Your roots have grown deep in hidden places. Your discernment has been sharpened through testing and time. Your dependence on God has been refined and proven through adversity. You are not stepping into this moment by coincidence or accident. You are stepping into it by divine design. The assignment is calling now because the training has been completed. The urgency you feel rising within is not anxiety. It is the sound of preparation fulfilled. God is not giving you this instruction at random. He is entrusting it to you because you are trusted. You have passed tests that no one else witnessed. You chose to obey in private, in moments when it would have been far easier to give up in public. When everything within you urged you to quit, you didn't. You remained faithful. And now heaven is counting on your next move. Not because God needs perfection, but because your obedience will not only shift the trajectory of your own life, it will impact every soul connected to your calling. Your faithfulness carries generational weight. This is not about pressure. This is about purpose. You were born for this very moment. The mantle upon your life is real. The assignment you carry is active and unfolding right now. The moment is not coming, it has arrived. So move forward, not in fear, but with holy confidence, knowing that every part of your journey has prepared you for exactly this. Chapter 4. Move quickly. Move quietly. Chosen one. This moment requires precision. God is not merely speaking, He is releasing an instruction sealed with divine urgency. This is not a time for prolonged hesitation or overanalysis. You do not have the luxury to sit with this word for too long, not because God is pressuring you through fear, but because He is positioning you through purpose. Some moves in the kingdom are time-sensitive. Certain doors remain open only for a brief window, and they must be walked through when the Spirit prompts, not when it feels convenient. Heaven is aligning moments, people, and positioning in your favor, but it requires your swift and quiet obedience. Not every step needs to be announced. Not every move needs to be understood by others. This is a call to respond with immediate faith, not delayed reasoning. The time is now. Move quickly, move quietly, move with purpose. This moment, right now, is directly connected to a divine appointment within your destiny. You have already sensed it deep within your spirit. That stirring, that undeniable inner push, that quiet but persistent command to go, to shift, to release, and to obey. What you are feeling is not anxiety. It is not panic or pressure from external circumstances. It is divine alignment pressing upon your soul, urging you to recognize that the time to act is now. Understand that not everyone around you will comprehend why you must move. That is why your response must be swift, not reckless, intentional, not careless. You are being called to move quickly in obedience, because delayed obedience when it comes to divine instruction can ultimately become disobedience. And in this specific moment, your blessing is tied not only to your obedience, but also to the timing of your obedience. Heaven's alignment is precise, and your response must be as well. God is not asking you to figure everything out in advance. He is not requiring you to have the full plan mapped out before you move. What He is asking right now is that you take the step He is currently revealing. He is providing just enough light for your next move, and He is asking you to trust Him completely with everything that follows. You do not need validation from people who were not in the room when God spoke to you. You do not need to seek permission from those who do not carry your calling or understand your assignment. This instruction is not meant for public analysis. It is meant for private execution. You were not called to explain every detail of your obedience to others. You were called to live it, to walk it out by faith. Move quickly, because the shift you have been praying and waiting for will not be activated by hesitation. It will be activated through movement, through bold, faith-filled action, not by waiting for perfect conditions. Waiting for everything to feel safe, predictable, or comfortable will ultimately paralyze your purpose. There are moments in the life of a believer when God requires you to leap first and trust that He will build the bridge beneath your feet. As you go, just as it is important to move swiftly, it is equally important to move quietly. Keep your steps covered, not out of fear, but out of reverence for the sacredness of the instruction you have received. This directive is holy, and not everyone is meant to have access to what God is currently birthing through you. There are divine assignments that must be nurtured in silence. When spoken too soon, they can be disrupted. When exposed prematurely, they risk being contaminated by voices and influences that were never meant to be part of the process. This is not the season to announce your every move. This is the season to protect your steps as one would guard a sacred treasure. There is power in your privacy, and there is divine covering in your silence. What God is doing in you now must be stewarded with discernment, humility, and restraint. God is not merely giving you an opportunity, He is releasing to you a divine strategy. And the strategy in this season is marked by both speed and stillness, urgency and secrecy, boldness without broadcast. Yes, the enemy will attempt to confuse you. He will try to make you second-guess what you know you clearly heard from God. He will send distractions, discouragement, and cleverly disguised delays, all designed to detour you from your divine assignment. But do not take the bait. Keep your eyes fixed forward. Keep your mouth disciplined and closed. Keep your heart firmly anchored in truth and in the voice of the Holy Spirit. This is the kind of move where heaven backs you, not because you made a public declaration, but because you chose to obey in silence. It is the kind of obedience that does not require applause to carry power. The kind of obedience that shifts spiritual atmospheres quietly. the kind that causes angels to move, doors to open, and enemies to scatter without you ever needing to say a single word. So move quickly because timing matters, and move quietly because protection matters. And now watch what God will do when you choose to follow the flow of His voice, without hesitation and without public announcement. This moment is not merely a test of obedience, it is also a transfer of responsibility, authority, and favor. The way you respond in this moment, how you move, how you obey, how you trust, will directly influence what you step into next. Heaven has already released the instruction, the word has been spoken, the door has been opened. Now it is your turn to respond with faith, with precision, and with quiet confidence in the one who has called you. Chapter 5. Telling the wrong people will sabotage the right move. Chosen one, listen with discernment and intentionality. This part of your journey is critical and could determine the outcome of everything. God has entrusted you with a divine instruction, a prophetic assignment, and a sacred strategy tailored specifically for your calling. But understand this, just because you have received the instruction does not mean you are meant to reveal it, at least not yet. This moment requires a heightened level of discipline, not only in your actions, but also in your words. You must exercise caution, discretion, and spiritual restraint. The revelation God has given you must be guarded as one would guard treasure, as though it were gold. Careless sharing can lead to premature exposure, and premature exposure can lead to spiritual sabotage. In this season, your silence is a strategy, and your ability to protect what God whispered to you in secret is part of your obedience, because it truly is sacred. Not everyone around you has been equipped to hear what you hear in the Spirit. Not everyone has been assigned the grace to carry what you are carrying in this season. Some individuals may genuinely love and care for you, but they lack the spiritual discernment to comprehend what heaven is actively doing within you. Yes, they may offer advice from a sincere place, but often their counsel is filtered through the lenses of fear, familiarity, or human logic. And let it be made clear, prophetic movement rarely aligns with human logic. God's instructions often transcend conventional timing, challenge personal comfort, and surpass the boundaries of common sense. What He is calling you to do may not be understood by natural minds because it is divinely designed for spiritual obedience, not public validation. And when you share divine instructions prematurely, you create space for others to project their doubt, fear, or limited understanding onto what God has already confirmed in your spirit. This is precisely why revealing the plan to the wrong person, yes, even just one, can unravel what God has been so carefully building in private. Consider the story of Joseph. He was not at fault for dreaming. He was not wrong for believing in the destiny placed over his life. His mistake, however, was in sharing a sacred revelation with individuals whose hearts were not prepared to receive or honor it. Their jealousy and immaturity opened the door to betrayal, sabotage, and years of unnecessary detours and hardship. Yes, God, being sovereign and merciful, redeemed every step of Joseph's journey in the end. But there was pain, delay, and isolation that might have been avoided had he simply exercised discernment and silence during the early stages of his calling. Do not repeat that mistake. You are in a critical moment, a tender phase where your obedience is fragile and formative. The seed God has planted within you is still taking shape. The roots are only just beginning to settle deep into the soil. If you expose what God is doing too soon, you risk inviting winds that your seed may not yet be strong enough to endure. Honor the timing, protect the promise, guard what is growing, hold the vision close until it no longer requires your defense, until the fruit begins to manifest, and the evidence of God's hand upon your life becomes absolutely undeniable. You are under no obligation to explain what God is doing in you, through you, or around you. You do not need to justify the instruction you received. You do not need to convince anyone of the divine strategy being written into your story. Let the results speak for themselves. Let the visible fruit of your obedience declare what your voice never had to articulate. Let your transformation preach the sermon that your words were never meant to deliver. Therefore, keep this moment sacred. Protect its purity by preserving it within the intimate space between you and God alone. Walk with discernment. Cover your silence in prayer. Fast if your spirit is prompted. But above all, avoid inviting unnecessary spiritual warfare by disclosing something divine to individuals who are still grounded in natural reasoning and limited perspective. This next move in your life is not meant for group chat approval or casual conversation. This next step is not contingent on human confirmation. If God said it, then that is your confirmation, and that is enough. Chosen one, understand this. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a strategy ordained by wisdom. Obedience does not always manifest itself in outward, vocal displays. More often than not, it unfolds in the quiet spaces, hidden from view, protected from interference. True power is not always preceded by fanfare or public recognition. Sometimes it operates subtly, moving silently in the background, preparing, aligning, and positioning until the precise moment of divine release. And when that appointed time arrives, you will not need to strive or force the unveiling. What God has set in motion will reveal itself effortlessly with undeniable authority and clarity. Chapter 6. This move will activate your next season. Chosen one, hear this clearly. What you are sensing in your spirit right now is not a fleeting emotion, nor is it mere restlessness or confusion. It is not the product of anxiety or doubt. It is a divine urgency. It is spiritual confirmation that heaven has just released a key intended for this very moment. You have felt stuck, not because you have erred, not because you lack faith, but because God, in His infinite wisdom, was intentionally holding you in place. The pause was not punishment, it was a divine strategy. The delay was not a denial, it was the preparation for a door that could only open in its appointed time. That time has now come. The signal has been given. The green light is before you. This move, the very one God is now calling you to make, is not trivial. It is not random. It is a sacred activation point, a spiritual catalyst designed to trigger the next season of your life. What you choose to do in the moments ahead will not merely alter your personal trajectory, it will set in motion a generational shift. The impact of your obedience will ripple far beyond your immediate context, touching lives and shaping destinies that extend long after you. You have prayed earnestly for open doors. You have fasted in pursuit of clarity. You have asked God to elevate you, to take you to the next dimension of your calling. And now heaven has responded, not with words, but with a release. And now God is responding not through lengthy explanation, but through decisive action. This is not merely about changing residences, launching a business venture, exiting a toxic relationship, or sending a difficult message. It is far more profound than that. This moment is about divine alignment, bringing your life back into harmony with heaven's original blueprint. God is calling you to take a step that will recalibrate everything: your purpose, your timing, your relationships, your vision, and even your voice. It is a call to restoration and spiritual realignment. When you say yes in the Spirit, even if your hands are shaking and your heart is uncertain, heaven begins to move in response. Things begin to shift around you. Invisible chains begin to break, including generational ones that you may have carried unknowingly. Doors that once seemed permanently shut, doors you previously tried to force open with great effort, will now begin to open effortlessly simply because you have aligned with divine instruction. Resources you once believed were out of reach will begin to find their way to you. The individuals divinely appointed to assist you will appear, without requiring explanation or justification. This will not occur because you are striving, but because you are fully aligned with purpose. This is the moment that changes everything. Not next year, and not when conditions feel safer, but now. There is a supernatural weight resting upon your next move. It does not need to be loud, nor does it need to be dramatic, but it must be made in obedience. That next step may be as simple as sending an email, packing a bag, deleting a contact, starting the application, leaving that room, writing the vision, or turning off your phone and falling to your knees in surrender. You already know what it is. God's Spirit has been quietly stirring your heart, nudging you, whispering, confirming. And now he's saying, it's time. Move now. Why? Because this decision isn't just about you. It touches your legacy, your children, their children, and generations beyond. It influences your finances, your healing, your authority, and your divine impact. This is a destiny moment, a shift that doesn't just change your direction, it rewrites the entire story. It breaks generational cycles and plants seeds for a new beginning. One day you'll look back and say, that was the turning point. You're not moving just for your own breakthrough. You're moving for your family's restoration. This isn't just a career shift, it's a dimension shift. You're not just exiting a hard season, you're stepping fully into your God-ordained purpose. Others may not understand. Some will say it's risky, some will call it reckless. But heaven calls it obedience. And obedience in this moment opens doors logic can't explain. It invites supernatural favor. It releases miracles. Chosen one, your moment is here. The heavens are open, the instruction is clear, the oil is flowing, and heaven is waiting for your yes. So move boldly. Now, chapter 7, obey now and watch what God does next. Chosen one, the moment you've been feeling is here. That stirring in your spirit, that urgency in your chest, it's not fear. It's God waking you up. It's heaven calling you to move. You've waited. You've prayed. You've stayed quiet. Now God is saying, move. This isn't impulse, it's instruction. God isn't rushing you. He's releasing you. Your preparation is finished. Now it's time to act. What you've been holding in your spirit is ready to come out, but it will only happen through obedience. You may not see the full plan, but God has shown you the next step. That step is enough. God isn't asking you to understand everything. He's asking you to trust Him. In the spiritual world, your obedience causes things to move. Angels start moving. Doors begin to open. Chains begin to break. You are winning not because you fought, but because you followed God. This is not the time to overthink. This is not the time to explain yourself. Don't try to convince people who don't hear what you hear. What God spoke to you was for you, not for them. Protect it. Keep it private. You have been prepared for this moment. Every setback, every delay, every lonely night, and every quiet word from God was part of the process. It was all getting you ready for now. You are not unqualified. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time with God's plan. Now you have a choice. Will you move or will you wait? Will you trust God's instruction or will you wait for more signs? This is a window of opportunity, and windows don't stay open forever. If you wait too long, you might miss it. But if you move with the Spirit, you'll walk into blessings that can't be made by human hands. You'll receive provision that's already waiting. You'll step into roles that God has already planned for you. God is ready to move through your yes. You don't need a big platform. You need obedience. You don't need attention. You need to be in alignment with God. You don't need everyone to get it. You just need to understand how important your purpose is. What you carry is not ordinary. It is from the kingdom. The kingdom is calling it out of you now. So go, not in fear, but in faith. Go with quiet confidence, not loud words. Don't look back. Move forward into what God has already prepared for you. You've waited long enough. You've gone around the same mountain long enough. Now it's time to walk through the door that just opened. And when you do, watch what God does. Watch how He shows you that the delay was not a denial. Watch how He proves you were always chosen. Watch how everything that once felt confusing now fits into His bigger plan. And if you're still hungry for more chapters to this journey, or a visual concept for a video or thumbnail, just say the word. I'm here and ready to help bring it all to life. Thanks for watching. Here ends this video. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe if you find this video interesting.